He got that from Scripture, didn't he? Your book telling you, you know that already. He said Scripture, that's right. And where is it found? In the Scripture, where is it found? Does your footnote tell you where else it's written in the Scripture? It's in Deuteronomy. He got it from the Scripture. When the enemy comes, that's a very good answer. When the enemy comes to distract us from destiny, we got to have an argument for him. We got to have the word to say back to him when he tries to play with your head. One of the things that I would say when he's trying to destroy you from your future here, you can say what we just said in Jeremiah 29:11. God has a plan for me, and that plan is good and not evil. That plan is that so that I may be what? Prosperous. And nobody's going to distract me from going to my destiny, which is prosperity. So we got to, Jesus gave the enemy, the devil, the Scripture. He said it. He gave him the Scripture, and that Scripture is found in Deuteronomy too. He knew the Old Testament. If you don't know how to respond when people try to talk you out of your destiny, you may lose what you're to have in life. If you don't know how to come back, if you fold up when somebody offers you an alternative that you know is not a part of your future, then you got to understand and you got to be convinced. Won't be easy all the time. It was not easy when Jesus went up into the mountain and decided to fast. The enemy came, but he didn't stop right there. What else did he offer him? Somebody look at the other. What other distraction did he offer? That didn't work. Jesus says, written, man shall not live by bread alone, but man will live by the word that comes out of this Scripture. That stopped that argument. The devil didn't leave. See, when you are going somewhere, people are not going to leave you. They're going to stay there until they can see how they can stop you. Tell me what's the next one he offered.
And the devil took Jesus to Jerusalem, the high city, set him on the high point of the temple, and said to him, if you are God's son, throw yourself down. For the scriptures say, God will give order to his angels about you. They will hold you up with your hands, so that not even your feet will be hurt on the stone.
Okay, stop right there. He gave him another point. My young lady back there said he gave him another opportunity to do what? Doubt. But then this time he gave a greater challenge. He said, now if you are the Son of God, what did he tell him to do? Throw yourself down. In other words, prove it. The enemy came to Jesus in words that he understood. Since just a few minutes ago, Jesus quoted the Old Testament, enemy was smart enough to go into the Old Testament and give it back to him. So Psalms 91, I think it's about verse 11. Somebody read that.
God will put his angels in charge of you to protect you wherever you go.
Okay, that Psalms 91 says God will put his angels, read it again.
God will put his angels in charge of you to protect you wherever you go.
Okay, so the devil told him, how did the devil twist that scripture? What did the enemy say to Jesus over there that this young man just read? He took the same scripture and twisted it a little bit, and he says that he will do what? What did he say? What did the enemy tell him? Read that again that you read before. He said he would give his angels what? Throw yourself down.
God will give order to his angels about you.
Okay.
It will hold you up with their hands, and not even your feet.
Okay, he said God will hold you up with his hands and not even your feet. So what he did is he took some words that he thought would just pull him in. Somebody give me a natural way that people do this. They give you something you're familiar with so to suck you in and get you off track. Somebody give me a natural way.
People get you like that in church. They'll come to you and they want you to do stuff in church. and come to you with the word. And come to you with the word. And I said, well, you know that phone that God called you on? I got one too. I picked mine up when he called.
How many people have been in here to buy a car?
Get by a car.
Buy a car to a car dealership. Buying a car, and you tell the salesman, I want to think about it. Well, wait a minute, you said you needed this car. And I know because I was that salesman for 2 years. I know, sorry. But wait a minute, you said you needed this car, right? Well, yeah. So what's stopping you from buying it today? The devil is the worst car salesman out there. Because he's going to take everything that you have ever said in your life from 20 years ago, from 5 years ago, from 2 weeks ago.
The harder things get, child gets sick, ain't got no bus fare, car brakes go out. That's when I always think for me, when there's something that I think that I heard that I'm supposed to do, when things come at me, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm right on course. When it's easy and smooth, I must be doing the wrong thing.
We know that all good comes from moving. But when we make bad choices, many times it's because of influences that have come into us to cause us to even make those bad choices. Now, we may invite them in. As for instance, sometimes let's talk about people who have chosen people that they want to date. Bad choice. Many of us, most of us have made bad choices sometimes when it comes to relationships. But we had a choice to either go in or not go in. Is that right? We had a choice. And you know what? Sometimes we entered in knowing that this was not the best choice.
Isn't that a free choice, though?
It's a free choice, but it's the wrong choice.
Right. We can say it's the wrong choice, but that's like a cop-out. I think everything that goes wrong, you're like, oh, the devil made me.
Well, you don't use that as an excuse. You know what the source is. Because the source is that all good and perfect gifts come from the Lord. So the source is, because if we had stopped, if you stopped when you're going to make a decision, and you stop and you begin to weigh the good with the bad, and you choose the good choice. But many times when we don't stop, we stop and we weigh and we see the bad. I really think that in most times when we're making decisions, sometimes we make mistakes, forgivable mistakes. Most of the times when we begin to get in this age and adulthood, we make free will choices. And we see them for what they are, but we choose to do what? Ignore it. We ignore the stopping. I think many times as we begin to think even through our lives, I'm trying to think of something that has to do with school, and even when we begin to think about our school, and many of us have decided a long time ago to be where we are tonight, to be in a class, but we went other ways. All the time when we were trying to avoid this destiny, we knew that, hey, I need to go back to school. But guess what we did? Something else. And we knew when we were doing something else that it was not where we were supposed to be.
That's just like when you're sitting in school and you're every week, say you're studying for your test and you come to school, you didn't pass the test or you didn't get the grade you want on the test. So next week you decide you're going to make you a cheat sheet. And you figure out you can cheat one time, and you cheat again and again, and in the end, in actuality, when you go to sit for boards, and for those who have to sit for boards, I want to go back to school to be an OBGYN. At the end of my term, if I cheat all the way through med school, when I go sit for that board, they take your books and they going to shake your books. I can't cheat when I sit for my boards. In the end, I've hurt myself